Namo Buddhaya, and a very warm welcome, dear Dhamma friends, to our Friday Dhamma sharing session under our Dhamma Dana lecture series. I'm Brother Eric, and I'll be your host for today. We are privileged to have with us Bhante Kotawaye Suseela as our speaker for today. Let us now bring Bhante online. Suki Hotu Bhante, and welcome to our Facebook live page. We will do a short introduction on Bhante. Bhante Kotawaye Suseela is a meditation teacher and spiritual advisor who lives in North America for almost a decade. Currently, he's the spiritual advisor and abbot for Alberta's Insight Meditation Center and Manitoba Buddhist Vihara in Canada. Also, he served as the Buddhist chaplain at the University of Alberta and Northern Alberta Institute of Technology. Bhante has also given Dhamma talks at Buddhist Mahavihara and was one of the facilitators at the BMV Novitiate program in 2019. Today's topic is entitled Avaranata Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 6, passage 16. The discourses on how to listen to the Dhamma. With that, we would like to invite Bhante to deliver today's Dhamma sermon.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Brother Eric. It is very nice to see you all this evening. So let's begin the Dhamma talk with homaging to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, as we promised last time, so we are here today to discuss and deliver another teaching of the Buddha. Today we have a specific topic to discuss about this teaching. As you know already, the topic is the obstructions. In Pali terms, it says Avaranata. This sutra comes in Anguttara Nikaya, which is numerical discourses of the Buddha. We can see this topic, this name of the sutra from different angles. Avarana means which has covered, distracted, or obstructed, or disturbed. In this sutra, Buddha taught us 6 points, 6 teachings, which is unable to listen the Dhamma. Even we listened, we will be incapable of entering to the path of Nibbana if we are obstructed by these ideas or these things. And simultaneously, Buddha has taught the other side of the teaching, the opposite of it. Buddha says, what are the capability of entering to the path of Nibbana while listening to the Dhamma? So first we will learn the first 6, then we will learn the second 6. Dear friends, listening to the Dhamma is an incomparable thing in this life. Having a rebirth as a human and having a faithfulness towards the Lord Buddha, those are incomparable things, and these are very valuable things in a life. And listening to the Buddha's teaching, also a valuable thing, and those things are very rare. We receive a human life and the Buddha's dispensation. Also, listening to the Buddha's Dhamma and following the Buddha's disciples is very rare in the world. Then we need to understand this reality. By understanding this, we need to put extra effort to understand or realize these teachings in order to overcome this samsaric cycle. That's our purpose. That's the purpose of being a Buddha. That's the purpose of teaching to the world these great teachings. So, today, let's talk about these 6 qualities of a listener. I would like to go with the sutra directly, then that way you can easily understand what Buddha meant. The sutra name is Obstructions. Buddha says in this way, because possessing 6 qualities, even while listening to the good Dhamma, one is incapable of entering upon the fixed course consisting in rightness in wholesome qualities. That's the exact translation from Pali Canon. What Buddha meant here, there are 6 qualities which a person could carry or happen to a person, which is incapable of entering to the enlightenment path, even though listen to the Dhamma. Sometimes we know we have some difficulties for understanding. Even though we listen to the number of talks, number of sermons, sometimes we don't understand. Some people never understand. But they don't stop listening. That's much better. So, if we have any incapability of understanding, please don't hate to your preacher or the teacher. Do not fight with the teacher. Don't hate. Don't let go your teacher, but check your capability. Don't see just only one side of the matter. We have to check everything. We have to investigate what is going on. As Buddha said, the first incapability or the obstruction is the karma. The first number 1 is karma. Why this karma becomes an obstruction for a listener to be an incapable person? If we have done any great karma, great unwholesome karmas in previous lives, such as killing the own mother, killing the own father, bleeding the Buddha, and killing the Arahant, and participating in dividing the Sangha. So if we have done these great unwholesome actions in previous lives, even though we are humans here, we will have that obstruction or distraction. Even though we listen to the Dhamma, we will not enter to the path. That's the karmic effect of this cycle or of this practice. If you have done any serious karma, even in this life, we will not have a chance to understand, realize this Dhamma until we finish that outcomes, until we overcome that outcomes. That's the first one. Number two, if a person has obstructed by defilements, if a person has obstructed by defilements, then that person is incapable of understanding or realizing or entering to the Nibbana, path of Nibbana. The reason, there are two views that Buddha taught, such as right view and wrong view. If a person holds wrong view for a long time, one after another, lives in this journey, if that person carries that wrong view, then that can be the obstruction of defilements. So that person is incapable of understanding or entering the path to the path, even though listening to the Dhamma. We can see in these Buddhist communities and the other communities, there are so many people who are incapable of understanding this. It's not a surprise, because among these beings, a very few people or handful of people will understand the exact teaching what Buddha meant and what Buddha taught. So therefore, if a person is obstructed by defilements, that person will have incapability of understanding and entering to the wholesome path or Nibbana. Number three, if a person is obstructed by result of karma, we need to clarify here. Sometimes people think karma is the same thing as result. No, it is those are two things. Karma is the action and what we have done or what we do. Vipaka means the result. The result is the result or the outcome of our actions. So if we have done serious bad karmas, and we will have a rebirth in a miserable life. Even if we have a rebirth in the human realm, maybe we will not have ability or capability of entering to the Buddha's dispensation because of bad outcomes of previous bad actions. So therefore, if we have any obstruction of result of karma, then we will have a barrier. We will have a distraction in entering to the path of Nibbana, even though we listen to the Dhamma. And number Number 4 is if there is no faith, even though that person is listening to the Dhamma, will not stay with the person and will not enter to the path, because the person must have the faithfulness. To whom? Faithfulness towards the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. When we listen to the Dhamma, we might have some sort of faith, believing or trustworthiness or trust towards the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. In that way we will have them. If the person has no any faith towards the Buddha, that person is incapable of understanding the Dhamma or entering to the path. And number 5 is if the person is having lack of desire, or if there is no desire or willingness to learn this Dhamma, to understand, to realize the Dhamma, then there is no realization of this. Even though the person listens, there is no realization. We know many people come to listen to the Dhamma, but they sit quietly, but they don't accept, they don't have faith, they don't have desire, they just sit and listen. So if there is no desire of listening to Dhamma and understanding it, then that person is incapable of realizing or entering to the path. And number 6 is if the person is unwise, there is no realization of this Dhamma, even though we listen. If the person is unwise, ignorant, that person is incapable. So, therefore, we need to understand when we listen to the Dhamma, if we have the realization and we are not obstructed or distracted by those. And if we are incapable of realizing or understanding the Dhamma, then, as I mentioned earlier, don't complain to the teacher or blame to the teacher or the organizers. Just check your ability of understanding this. That's how we have to realize or understand about this teaching. So I will go to the next 6, then you will understand the other way. Then Buddha says, if a person is listening to the Dhamma, there are 6 capabilities of understanding and realizing and entering to the Nibbana path of Nibbana. That's exactly opposite of the other 6. If the person has not obstructed or distracted by karma, if the person has not done any serious great karmas, bad karmas in the past, that person's journey is very pure and clean. So that person is having a wholesome full life. So therefore that person has the ability or capability of understanding the Dhamma. And number 2, if the person is not obstructed by defilements. Means if the person has the purification of right view or clear understanding of these teachings, and if the person has trained that mindset even in the previous lives, which is not holding wrong view and holding the right view, that person is having the good time and capability of understanding this. And number three is that person is not having bad result of karma, bad outcomes of karma. That if the person is having good outcomes of the previous karma, that's the capability of realizing this Dhamma. Because the person is not having a sadful life, the person is having a good and comfortable life. So it's easy and smoothly go the flow, then the person is capable of understanding. Because the environment is clean and clear. And if the person has endowed with faith towards the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, then that's the other thing of understanding and being capable of realizing this Dhamma. Also, if the person have desire means willingness to listen to the Dhamma and realize it. That's the fifth capability. Number 6 is being wise. If the person is wise, that person has the ability of understanding the Dhamma and entering to the path. Those are the capabilities and incapabilities of a person who listens the Dhamma. And the incapable person has no any ability of entering to the path of Nibbana. The other person who has the capability of understanding, that person has ability, and that person has the person's path and the vision is very clear, so that person will enter the path and walk on the Nibbana path. In that way, we have to understand this. So, today's topic clarified as how to listen to the Dhamma, and those are the qualities of a person if we are capable and incapable of listening to the Dhamma. And there are some other things too we need to understand when we listen to the Dhamma. I will remind a couple of them. First, we need to approach the teacher faithfully. We must have some sort of confidence and faithfulness towards the teacher. We come and sit and we associate the teacher and we have a good company with the teacher. Then the teacher will teach, talk. Then we raise our ears and we listen to the teacher. And while listening, we don't do any analysis there. We don't try to understand. We just listen and we collect the teachings. We gather the details. We get the message as teacher says. Then we store it. We keep it in the library. Then we get the time. Then we get one topic of that teaching from the teacher, then we analyze it by ourselves. We investigate it ourselves up to the realization. Then if we are confident, if we are able to understand what the teacher says, what the teacher said, then that way we can apply that teaching to the practice. While we are applying it, while we are practicing, we will realize this teaching should be continued, or this teaching should just chase away or throw it away. Because if we do not meet our requirements, or if we do not meet our purpose of listening and practicing the Dhamma, then we have to just give up or avoid that teachings, even though the teacher is very famous, even though the teacher is well known, even though the teacher is very familiar to us, no matter what, we have to just throw it away because we don't meet our expectations. If we meet our expectation or anticipations, then we have to continue and we have to visit that teacher frequently. Then we can understand more teachings and we can clear the path with the teacher. So there are another 13 steps of listening and understanding the Dhamma. However, so we supposed to stay with this teaching today. Therefore, I will summarize again the sutra here. The incapability, there are 6 incapabilities of a person while listening to the Dhamma and entering to the path of Nibbana, which is if the person has previous bad karmas and defilements and having outcomes and resulting the previous karmas actions, and if there is no faith and if there is no desire of listening to the Dhamma, and if no if there's no wisdom or if the person is unwise, those are the incapabilities of listening to the Dhamma or entering to the path. And exactly opposite of these 6 is the capabilities of a person who's listening to the Dhamma and realizing it and entering to the path. So therefore, please keep those in the mind, and try to understand. And if there is any capability, you might know I'm having the capability. If there is any incapability, don't worry and don't give it up. Just keep listening. Sometime, someday, you will have the capability of entering to the path. So now I would like to
Okay,
open
thank you, Bhante, for that very excellent sharing, Bhante. So here we have some question posted online for us. We'll post it up for everyone to view it and for Bhante to view it.
Thank you, David, for the question. And I think I commented on this question last time too, but with these teachings, comparatively this teaching, I would like to say, being a Buddhist is not the only thing that we can understand the Buddha's teaching, but there are more opportunities and more chances to understand the Buddha's teaching. But if a person change their faith or denomination, that's personally their personal matter, but they will have a barrier and obstruction to listen to this teaching and realize the teachings and enter to the path, and they will delay their samsaric cycle, and I mean the realization of this nibbana. So, which means if they were having right view, they never leave these teachings. Why we leave this faith and take another faith? Why we change this? we have established our faithfulness and confidence towards the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So there is no right view. Therefore, we tend to change ourselves. Then we enter the wrong view sometimes. So my advice is we need to establish right view. Actually, there is no guarantee for a person, even a born Buddhist person, they will not change their religion. The reason is if they haven't established the right view, and there are more chance and more opportunities them to change their faith, and they will have another faith, they will follow another teacher, and they will give this up, and they will have distractions, even they will have obstructions to understand this Dhamma, because even if they were here, they will have some sort of understanding or chance, but finally they lose everything. So, but we can complain them because everyone has the freedom to accept or change their denominations. But my understanding is if there is no right view, what I believe is even if a monk doesn't have the right view, that person will disrobe and go to and find another faith. That had happened even in the Buddha's time too. So therefore there's no doubt about this, and there is no surprise. Thank you, Brother Leslie. Yes, there are many rare things in the world. Born as a human, to have a rebirth as a human is a very rare thing. Let me give an example. One day, Buddha was teaching to a group of monks, and he got a tiny bit of soil onto his thumb, and he put it on the nail and asked from the monks, what do you think? Which is more, the soil on the thumb or soil on the earth? The monk said, Bhante, the soil on the nail is very little, it's tiny, but the earth has more than that. Then Buddha said, that's an example. The people, the humans who are in this human realm, they will die, and many of them will not return to the human realm. They will go somewhere else and the other realms. And there are very few people who are coming back to this human realm. That's why it is that rare. It's not easy. Let me elaborate it in this way too. This is very interesting thing. Sometimes people think they can go to the heaven and being a human world, to have a rebirth in the human world by offering things. Which is we have to think very wisely according to the teachings. Why I say this is, Buddha teaches in this way. If a person is virtuous and generous and meditative, that person will born in the human realm or a Brahma realm or a Deva realm, then that person will have all the luxuries in wherever that person born. If a person is immoral, not virtuous, but even though that person is generous, the result will be bad. Because of that immoralities of the person will not come to the human realm, will go to animal realm. Because of his previous generous actions, even though he's in animal realm, that being, that animal will have all the comfort and the facilities, being even being in the animal realm because of that previous action. So again, we can be virtuous as a human, but we do not go for generosity. Then what will happen? As a virtuous person, we will born in the human realm, but we will be poor. Maybe we will be beggars. So these things should come together. That's why we say being a human is a very rare thing. And with that rarity, when we are in the human realm, there are many humans in this planet, but they don't have the chance to listen to the Buddha or the Dhamma or the Sangha. They don't have the chance. So among those millions or billions of people, we are very lucky to have the Buddha's teaching and Buddha's dispensation. So that's why we say it's very rare. First thing is being a human is very rare thing. Even though we are human, we do not have chance or the opportunity to meet the Buddha's dispensation. That also rare. Again, we are in the human realm. We have the Buddha's teaching, the dispensation of the Buddha, and we have Kalyana Mittas. We have noble friends who are dedicated to the path and the teachings. That's also a very rare thing. So that's why I mentioned being in these categories is very rare. Well, so we will have this effect of karma and obstructed by karma. Also, we don't want to lose our effort, and if we lose the effort, then we will lose this chance as well. But we have to try, and we have to keep trying, even though we will not have the ability of understanding this. That's a good question, actually. So, well, as I mentioned for the other question, if you are obstructed, but don't lose your effort, don't lose your faith, and try to be effortful and try to have more confidence. And my advice is do more wholesome deeds, because there are some karmic results and the other matters which we can overcome, which we can reduce the power of it by doing wholesome deeds. But I cannot say one by one what are the wholesome deeds that we have to practice to overcome those matters, but we need to understand what our capabilities and what our limits, and that way we can practice, and that way we can apply more wholesome deeds and more effort to the practice, and that way we can develop the practice. So again, one more thing is if we have any uh, difficulty of practicing and listening and meditating, I would like to request you before you start, ask for forgiveness from the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and from your teachers, noble friends, and Aryans, and all the beings in the world. If I have done any wrong thing, mistakenly or misunderstandingly, then that way we can get the forgiveness. In that way, we can reduce somewhat power of our bad karmas as well.
Bhante, that's about all the questions we have for today, Bhante. We thank Bhante for the very excellent answer and the equally good question posted by our audiences. Okay, a gentle reminder before we move on, this coming Sunday on the 27th of December 2020 at 8:30 p.m., we have another Dhamma sharing by Bhante Dr. S. Maratana from USA with the topic Setting Resolutions for the New Year. So before we conclude, we would like to invite Bhante to share the merits accrued today with all the devas and our departed loved one, Bhante.
So let us share these accumulations with all beings who are willing to partake, especially the whole world have affected by this pandemic. So many people are having very difficulties even during this time. So for them, as well as all the devas, all the deities, all the heavenly beings, and all the departed relatives and friends of our families. May they partake these merits and may they fulfill their wishes and finally realize the great teachings of the Buddha. We may share the merits by reciting stanzas. Akasatha cha bummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sasanam chiram rakkantu desanam chiram rakkantu mang param idam me jnatinang hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. By the power of this accumulation, we all are may be able to overcome this samsaric cycle, finally attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. And I would like to thank to the Buddhist Mahavihara and Brother Eric, Brother Leslie, who are coordinating these great sessions for the audience and for the congregation of this Buddhist Mahavihara. And I would like to pay my respect to all the venerable monks at Buddhist Mahavihara who are accommodating us for these programs. And thank you for my dear Dhamma friends listening and bringing up your valuable questions, seeking for answers. And it was very happy to see you this evening and hope to see you sometime soon.
Now we have come to the end of our Dhamma sharing session today. On behalf of Buddhist Mahavihara, we would like to extend our highest thanks to Bhante Kotawaye Suseela for the excellent sharing today, and also to our generous sponsors and to all our dedicated audiences. May all be well, peaceful, and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.